Saying welcome back to my channel. My name is ESIKOKUI and I have a new video for you today. We are going to get into something that means a lot to me, if you can tell by the title. We are going to talk about religion a little bit and spirituality. I'll kind of explain the way that I follow God and how my faith is, and kind of relate it into the 4 ways that is the best way to have that most positive relationship with God when you're dealing with so many outside factors, people not believing in the same things as you, or just being distracted or tempted by so many other things. So before I get into it, please, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, all that jazz. Let's get into the video right now. So it is really hard to be a Christian nowadays. I am telling you, because, and I'm sure you see it, if you are watching this, you are probably struggling with your journey as well and trying to just kind of stay on the right path, stay with the values that you have, the values that are of Christ, and finding your way of like a good balance of being able to live your life, but also live your life through the lens that God wants us to. And so for me, I grew up going to church all my life, a black church, and I loved it. I really loved going to church every week. And then on Wednesdays I would go to my white church which was right next to my house. Mind you, my black church was not far at all. It was like maybe like 4 blocks away, right? But my white church was right there on the same block as me. So we would go there on Wednesdays for Bible study, and then Sundays I would go to Sunday school, and then children's church or youth church, and then to big church, right? So church has always been a thing that I have gone to, and I know sometimes when you do something just because you're supposed to, you don't really find your way with that. And for me, I did. I was lucky enough and just blessed enough to find my own relationship with God. It was rocky. Sometimes I didn't do the best of believing in His word, and I fell to the slums of earth when I went to college. Like, I just did a lot of things that I was not proud of, but again, I have found my way, and I'm still learning. Like, this isn't something that is foolproof, you know. The things that I'm going to talk about and the things that I am doing right now is not foolproof, but as long as you are trying and you are trying to do your best, that's it. And I am definitely not one of those Christians that judges you. I am like, I be in the club the night before and go to church the next day. It is a thing. It happens, okay? I listen to music that, you know, there's cuss words and they're not saying the best things. And then gospel is my favorite genre. I am maybe I would call myself the modern day Christian, okay? And some people judge and think that it's not the best way to live your life, and that is definitely up to you, and that is okay. But for me, this is how I feel like I can best serve God and be authentic to myself, because everything that I do is with God, but I am also a young girl. I am a young girl that is trying to find her way in this world, and I think that you can definitely do both. So in order to do that, number 1, you definitely need to live your authentic self. You need to ask yourself these 3 questions. I didn't get this from myself. I don't even remember where I got this from, but it's definitely a way to kind of figure out who you are at the core. So basically, your number 1 question to ask yourself is, who are you at your core? Who are you when you're not under the eyes and the scrutiny of the world? Or maybe even when God's not looking at you, which He always is. But like, if you're not thinking of that, who are you at your core? For me, at my core, I am somebody that likes to make sure that the people around me are okay. I like to make people happy. I like to make people feel like they can depend on me. That's what makes me happy. But also, I realize as I'm going through this journey of life that also at my core, I like to be happy and I like to receive that back. I thought that I didn't need that back, that would fulfill me, but it wasn't true. Like, I needed it back. So figure out who you are at your core, what you like, what you dislike, what makes you you, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you mad. Like, who are you at your core? And then after that, figure out how you are perceived to the world, how you are perceived when you walk into the room. And then also figure out, how do you want to be perceived? And do those two questions and those two ideals, do they match up? Then you bring the Christian aspect into it, right? And you ask yourself these same questions with your Christian walk. Who are you at your core in your faith? How are you perceived as a Christian? And how do you want to be perceived? See if all of those things line up. See if those things make you feel like you are living your authentic self. And if not, then there are some changes that you have to make, right? There are definitely some changes that you have to make. But this helps you really figure out where you are going in your life. What is the next chapter you want to take? You know, do you feel like when you are at the club and you are having a good time with your friends, do you feel like that is leading you to bad decisions? Is there some changes that you need to make? Like, think about all of these things. Are you having a good balance? Are you learning and doing and staying on your goals? That's what you have to ask yourself in order to live your authentic self. That is my number one. My number two is to be active in your faith. It is so hard sometimes, you know, there are so many distractions, but there is a way to stay active in your faith. Going with how you like to do things. Like, do you like structure or are you more free? If you like structure, then maybe you need a schedule. Maybe you need to know, like, okay, when I wake up in the morning, this is what I'm gonna do. On Wednesdays, I'm gonna do this. On Thursdays, I'm gonna do that. Like, you need a schedule, right? And that is the way that you can stay active with your faith. If you need to wear a cross, something to remind you, like, hey, I need to keep Jesus in the center, do things like that. If thoughts are running through your mind that aren't the most positive, have your mantra ready to go. Mine is, just because I think it doesn't make it true. I say that when the bad thoughts come in, it helps to distract my mind from the negative thoughts, and then I can bring in positive things. Have a structure, have things lined up in order to fight the bad things that come into your life. But if you are more free in your faith, you don't need those things in place, those affirmations, those mantras in place to help you get through the day. You don't need to wake up in the morning praying to God. You can do it throughout the day. I just say, if you're gonna do that, definitely do it alone. Have your quiet time to really connect with God, because sometimes, you know, all the thoughts of the world, you're not staying focused on what God is trying to tell you. So I would just say, do it quietly, do it alone. But if you are more free, figure out what works for you, what makes you feel like you can connect to God, you know. But don't forget to connect to God in whatever way. You have to at least connect with him. And I don't think that's too bad, you know. I know you don't always connect with your parents every day, and they are the ones that brought you into this world, right? But God is there with you every single second of the day. He knows your innermost secrets. He knows your schedule. He knows everything that you are going through. He knows your ups and downs and all of that. And so he just wants you to take a little bit of time out of your busy schedule to just spend some time with him. I don't think that's too much. I know I fall off. I'm not saying that you won't fall off. You may. Like, we are human. We make mistakes. It is okay. But at least if you're trying to actively make an effort to just spend some time, then that's great. Number 3, meditation. That is another way I actively spend time with God. I still pray every morning. I try and pray before I go to bed. It doesn't always happen, but I know I'm going to pray in the morning. And then Thursdays are my meditation, God-centered day. I take like about an hour or so, and I just spend some time recentering myself. I start off with a meditation to bring in all the good things, or maybe slow my mind. I whatever the week is calling for, I do a meditation that speaks to that, right? And then I go into writing into my journal. How did that make me feel? What am I going through in this week? What questions am I asking myself that are leading to some sort of answers that have given me some type of breakthrough, right? I am journaling it all. And then from there, I just pray. But like my prayer in this meditation time is a little different. My eyes aren't closed. It's a little informal in the way that I'm talking to God, right? And so it's just a conversation, actually. So I'm just talking to God out loud, and it is a little bit of a prayer, but we're just talking and we're trying to figure out what is happening in my life, what I'm feeling, what deep down things I'm not getting, because living this adult life is just, it's so hard. Figuring out your career, trying to make money, your love life, all of these things, it is a lot. And yes, you can say it in your morning prayers or your night prayers, but when you really just sit there and like, I'm quiet some of the time and I'm just letting my thoughts go through me, and I'm thinking, what led me to all of these things, right? Why am I here? And I listen and I wait for God to speak to me. I let the thoughts that run through my mind answer the questions, or maybe bring more questions that I need to spend more time on. But I just use that time to really have a conversation with God, and I feel so good. Like my body craves this time. If I don't do it, like I try to do it weekly on Thursdays, if I don't do it for that week, oh my gosh, I'm like, it is truly a craving that I have if I don't get to it. And then I just end this whole meditation time listening to somebody's like maybe 20-minute sermon, or how they're staying on their journey with God. And it's about like an hour or so of just meditation and reflection time with God. And I love it, and it feels great. So if that's something that you want to incorporate, I definitely highly recommend it. And lastly, have verses and sayings to back you up in life. If you know that you struggle a lot with anxiety and depression, find verses that, you know, shows that God is with you, that you don't have to worry, that you don't have to be anxious. And that's not saying that you're not going to be anxious or you're not going to worry. It's still going to be there, but at least then maybe it subsides a little. You feel like you're not alone, and you just have, it's just a reminder. It's a reminder of who's with you through it all. God didn't say that you would live a life without these things, but it's just about how you deal with it moving forward. Like, you can't continue to be worried. You can be worried, but then having these verses remind you of where you need to get your mindset to be. Like my mantra of making sure that negative thoughts don't stay in my mind, I have that. I am not great at memorizing verses and stuff like that, but I do have a couple under my belt that help me. So if you can do that, you will be fine. And so these are my 4 tips to really stay on your positive relationship and path with God. I try every single day and I fall short. I really do. But I get back up and I keep trying. Where I was 2 years ago is not where I am today. Where I was yesterday, honestly, is not where I am today. I woke up today with some big understanding about my life, and so I am definitely changing every day, and God is helping me through it. And I truly can say that. Like, I would not have made it this past year, literally a year from this month, I would not have made it if God didn't save me. And so these are the things that helped me throughout this year, and I hope they help you. If you like this discussion, I can do more of them. I have so much to say. I can talk so much about my faith. And yes, you will see me on my channel cussing, going to the club, doing other things, but that doesn't take away from my relationship with God. That's between me and God, okay? So if you're here to judge, you could take that somewhere else. You could take that somewhere else. But I wanted to share this to help others because it helped me. And yeah. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.